I'm Finn and I'm doing a PhD in the computer science department here in Trinity. I was only recently diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, so what I'd like to do is talk about the differences between undergraduate work and postgraduate work, and what sort of impact AS might have on how things go. Everyone, I think, finds doing research difficult. In a way it's supposed to be difficult, and there are sort of standard difficulties that everyone has, but AS can make these things worse. There's also the very important question of maintaining a healthy social life, and in general keeping a balance of your academic work and your leisure time. And again, that can be a particular problem for people with AS. Have a tendency to hyper-focus on a particular task and to the exclusion of everything else. And it's important to be able to, as I've said before, to be able to step back and look at how things are going for you and what the balance of activities in your life is in your typical day or your typical week, and to be able to recognise when that balance is unhealthy or isn't what you'd like it to be. On the other hand, I've been talking a lot about difficulties, but there are plenty of good points to being someone with Asperger's in a university. In many ways it's an absolutely ideal environment doing research, because you get to use those particular talents you have of focusing, of concentrating and indulging in a special interest. So people with AS can really flourish in a research environment, particularly because those tendencies or those traits that have been discouraged or even derided when you're younger, your tendency to find obscure or esoteric subjects absolutely fascinating, is a huge advantage if you're doing research. I mentioned that I was only diagnosed with AS quite recently. I think it was about a year ago. When I started to look for help, I was quite genuinely amazed by the sheer amount of people and the sheer number of services there are, and the sheer number of support systems there are in college, in Trinity in particular. The Unilink occupational therapy service I've found simply indispensable. It's helped me turn things around completely. There's the disability service who can help with all manner of things if you have sensory problems or if you have mobility issues or whatever. They're enormously helpful in that regard as well. There's plenty to be hopeful about, and I know I've talked a lot about the difficulties you may have, and it's important to be aware of them and important to be able to recognise them when they do crop up. But the converse to that is you're not the only one who has these difficulties. And here at Trinity, the place is stuffed with people who are here to help you.